The Torah, to a Jewish person, I just want to cover maybe a myth. A myth is that Jews are waiting to be delivered from the law. A big myth is that the law is burdensome, the law is difficult, the law is something that it's like, oh man, we got to get up and do Torah this morning. Oh, and we're just waiting for the Moshiach to come one day and set us free from it. You should know that that is a big myth. To quote from the song, we like it, we love it, we want some more of it. That's the truth. Jews love the Torah. It's like our love letter from God. It's the will of the Holy Father. It's what he wants us to do for our life. And the reality is the Torah is not by any means hard. I have often challenged people, find one commandment that you can't do. Now, I want to qualify that and say that there are some commandments we can't do because we don't sacrifice as Jews. That's probably an important thing to say because people misunderstand that too. They say, well, as Jews, what do you sacrifice? And the answer is we don't. Actually, what I normally say to throw people off is in my backyard. I just like to see their reaction. Like, I'm just kidding. I haven't done that in like at least a year. No, I'm just kidding. But we're not allowed to. Without the temple, we're not allowed to sacrifice, right? Any sacrifice outside the temple, which has to be in Jerusalem, would be actually a big-time violation of God's will. So we're not allowed to do it. So we don't sacrifice. And so there's some things like that you can't do. And as a man, there's certain things that you can't do, obviously, that only women can do and vice versa. But in terms of the mitzvahs that you can do, you can't find one that you can honestly say, oh, that's just too hard for me. It's not true. And so I want to give you a Jewish perspective on that. Because many people said that the law of God was too hard, therefore God had to set us free from it. That's a myth, right? Let me explain to you why it's a myth. And this is a theological idea from a Jewish mind. Suppose that you had a little boy, Benny, a little bit older than Benny, right? And not capable of pushing the lawnmower, much less starting it, okay? And you said to your little boy, I'm telling you something, before I get home tonight, I want you to mow the lawn. And the little boy looks at you like, he can barely understand what you're saying. There's no way he can physically mow the lawn. But your commandment to him is, you should mow the lawn. And so you come home, the lawn's not mowed, and you figure out the reason it's not mowed is because he physically couldn't do it. So you punish him severely for it. Now what would happen? If the authorities found out about that, you would be arrested, hauled off to jail, and thrown in jail for 20 years, as you should, because you're an unjust father or mother and you're a crazy person. But yet we say that about God. We say that God gave us a law we could not follow, and then once we couldn't follow it, he sends us to Gehenna for it. That's not just. So we had to understand that, in fact, he gave us a law that we could follow, and we chose not to follow. That's called sin. And we're punished because we made a choice. Now, it's true that everybody sins, but it's also true that we all made a choice to sin. We chose to do so, and therefore, the punishment that we receive is just. Incidentally, biblically, and this is even written in the New Testament letters, it's the definition of sin is breaking God's law. It's a very important concept. The definition of sin is breaking God's law.